From our broadcasting house here on Wesley Street in Sierra Leone's capital, Freetown, this is Primetime News on AYV TV and radio. You're watching us on channel 33 and listening to us on frequency modulation 101.7. I am Zulayat Hamid. Let's start with tonight's headlines. Parliament endorses a private member's motion calling for legal protection for former presidents and their families following the discontinuation of criminal charges against former President Nkrumah.
Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say nay.
As AYV looks into the rise in mob justice, police warn perpetrators to back off and follow lawful justice procedures.
Nobody has the right to take the law into your own hands. That is why the police is there.
And AYV and the National Union of Sierra Leonean Students launch Miss University 2026.
The theme has not been chosen by mistake. It was not fortuitous. We thought about it. And redefining beauty through purpose and leadership.
Hello and welcome from wherever you're joining me tonight. I am Zulayat Hamid. First in the news, Sierra Leone is preparing to place its capital regional diplomacy under the spotlight as it gets ready to host the 69th ordinary session of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government. President Julius Maada Bio, who currently chairs the regional bloc, has inspected the newly completed Julius Maada Bio International Conference Center and adjoining hotel at Lunge, the venue for the summit. Now, the meeting will bring together West African leaders at a time when ECOWAS is facing some of its biggest tests, from military coups and democratic setbacks to questions over trade, free movement, and the future of regional integration. Mohamed Bakar Kamar reports.
At Lunge, President Bio toured the state-of-the-art facility alongside senior government officials, engineers, and project managers, assessing preparations ahead of the arrival of the heads of states and governments. The summit comes at a defining moment for ECOWAS, a bloc created in 1975 to promote economic integration among West Africa countries. Today, the organization has 12 active member states following the withdrawal of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger in 2025, after prolonged tensions with the regional body over sanctions and military rule. For Sierra Leone, hosting the summit is both a diplomatic achievement and a test of influence. The country hopes the gathering will highlight its role in regional affairs while pushing discussions on trade, security, and democratic stability. But behind the ceremonial flags and conference halls are difficult questions. ECOWAS was designed to make borders less of a barrier, allowing people, goods, and services to move freely across West Africa. Yet, traders and citizens still face delays, costly procedures, and restrictions that continue to slow the dream of truly integrated regional markets. As leaders gathered in Sierra Leone, the summit will test whether ECOWAS can remain a bridge between its members or become another institution struggling to hold together a changing region. Mohamed Bakar Kamara, AY.
With the criminal case against former President Nkrumah now discontinued, the question has shifted from the courtroom to the calendar. When will he return home? Now, the development follows the implementation of recommendations under the tripartite agreement brokered with support from ECOWAS, the African Union, and the Commonwealth. Now, while no return date has been announced, the APC's National Publicity Secretary, Sidi Yaya Tunis, says he would not be surprised if Mr. Nkrumah arrives ahead of Sierra Leone's hosting of the ECOWAS Heads of State Summit. Speaking on AYV's Wake Up Sierra Leone, he shared why he believes the timing could matter. Here are the highlights.
Well, in the first place, how soon will he return? That I wouldn't know. But one thing I will not be surprised at all if he attends the summit on the ECOWAS summit that is to be hosted here. I will not be surprised to see him, because we have to understand, first of all, that in that same summit, President Bill will be going for re-election as chairman for the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State. And knowing the influence that President Nkrumah has and the kind of person that he is, I wouldn't be surprised to see him at that conference, especially with this development, him standing toe-to-toe with President Bill to ensure that he's re-elected as chairman, for the Authority of Heads of State, just to ensure that the unity in this country has started, and that they are campaigning together so that President Bill will be re-elected. I would not be surprised. He's the kind of person that would do something like that. So I'm expecting that he may be in Freetown on Sunday, just to give support to the country and to President Bill, But how much will he be involved in the party? I'm not sure, he will be fully involved in any political party matters. Of course, he's a member of the APC, but he's now a statesman. Whatever activities, we know he loves to talk around democracy, peace in the sub-region. So I would expect that those are things that he may want to continue. Of course, they may give advice and guidance to the APC, but to be fully involved in party matters, I don't think that will happen.
Now, across Sierra Leone, a troubling pattern continues to test the country's justice system, suspected criminals being punished by angry crowds before they ever face a court of law. Now, known as mob justice, these attacks have resulted in serious injuries and death, prompting renewed warnings from the Sierra Leone police and human rights groups that public anger cannot replace due process. Let's join Edima Conte for more.
The moment suspicion turns into violence, justice is often lost. Across Sierra Leone, incidents of suspected thieves being beaten, tortured, and sometimes killed by members of the public continue to raise concerns about respect for the rule of law. The 1991 Constitution of Sierra Leone protects every person from torture and cruel, inhuman, or disregarding treatment. It also guarantees every accused person the right to a fair hearing before punishment is imposed.
Nobody has right to take the law into your own hands. That is why the police is there. You have the responsibility as citizens to arrest and also hand over to police. You look at within our own policing practice, we have what we call 6 power of arrest. The 6 power of arrest that police can arrest without warrants. Equally so the citizen get that responsibilities. When you arrest, within the shortest possible time, you hand over to police. But taking the laws into your own hands, it has led to a lot of other, devastating situations.
For many communities, mob justice is seen as a quick response to crime, especially where public trust in the justice system is low. But legal experts say such actions can transform victims into offenders because attacking a suspect is itself a criminal act. Mob justice continues to raise serious concerns across Sierra Leone, with suspected thieves increasingly being assaulted by angry crowds instead of being handed over to the police. While many see it as a sweet punishment, the law is clear that every suspect has the right to due process.
We have, the provisions are there. One, if you beat, of course, we have what we call assaults. If you beat, well, recently somebody also assaulted somebody else in the name with the pretense that he was a thief. So what happens when the police went there? They arrested the suspect as well as even those guys who claimed that the guy was a thief, but they assaulted him. So we now issued medical request to even the victim now. The suspect now become the victim in this case, and those who claim that the guy was a thief now become a suspect in this case. So that tells you there is a legal provisions, and we have also charged people to court who are always in the habit of taking the laws in their own hands.
Recent crime figures from the Sierra Leone police show that offences involving violence, theft and public disorder remain among the crimes frequently reported across the country, placing pressure on law enforcement and communities to find lawful solutions rather than resorting to revenge. Police say citizens have the right to help apprehend suspected offenders where necessary, but suspects must be handed over immediately to the nearest police station for investigation and prosecution.
They are committing crime. Nobody, even the police, we don't have that authorities to beat somebody or to punish somebody. Only the competent court of law that get that mandate to say you are guilty of this offense and therefore you go for, a period of time or you pay a fine of this. But you as an ordinary person, you have no right. We advise that you cooperate with the Sierra Leone police, you stop taking the law into your own hands. A lot of people are out there now in prison suffering for some of those things.
Earlier this year, the death of Joshua Mansare, who was allegedly attacked after being accused of theft, renewed public debate about mob violence. Police say investigations into the circumstances surrounding his death are ongoing.
I followed the investigations. We were there together with the team from CID to look at the footage within that vicinities. You know, back of the whole lodge, we have CCTV footage where we have the OSE headquarters, the Operation Support Division headquarters, to look at the footage to ascertain that indeed the man was mobbed within that area. But few arrests on that day were made, and that matter was also under investigation.
Human rights advocates say the incident reflects a wider challenge about the danger of replacing courts with crowds.
What is happening is totally wrong, because as Sierra Leoneans, we are obliged to respect dignity as provided for in Part 3 of our Constitution. We have responsibility as Sierra Leoneans to respect the dignity of individual Sierra Leoneans. So if you see a Sierra Leonean doing the wrong thing, you don't have to go and mob him or lynch him because he has done something which is not right. There is law. But the problem we are having, that people are still having issues with has to do with the judicial system, the police. Because confidence and trust has eroded. People's confidence in the judicial system, people's confidence in the police has eroded. Because if you have a matter, you say, I'll take the matter to the police, quote unquote, I'll carry the matter going to the police, and the person says, I'm on above case ball. Because they know the buttons to go and play around to make sure that the matter dies natural death. Or, we forget, we carry the matter going to court. They also know where to go and play around, and your file gets missing. All of these things are creating that fear in Sierra Leoneans. That's why most of them take the laws into their own hands by either lynching or creating this problem that is happening right now.
As Sierra Leone continues efforts to strengthen justice institutions, authorities say the fight against crime must not come at the cost of fundamental rights. For the police and human rights campaigners, support investigations but leave punishments to the courts. Edima Conte, AYB News, Freetown.
And now over to the climate. The hottest year on record in the UK was in 2025. It was both the warmest and sunniest year since official records began in 1884, with an average annual temperature of 10.09 centigrade. Now in 2026, it's already showing signs of breaking that record. Heat is no longer just a season, it is quietly rewriting the rules of public health. Now, the World Health Organization warns that extreme heat is among the fastest growing climate-related threats to human health, with Africa expected to face more frequent and intense heat waves. In response, the Freetown City Council, together with the Ministry of Health, HB Limited and the District Health Management Team and C40 Cities has begun training frontline healthcare workers to recognize and manage heat-related illnesses before lives are lost. AYV's Issa Bangura reports.
The sun is becoming a harder neighbor to live with. What was once an uncomfortable afternoon can now become a medical emergency. The World Meteorological Organization says 2024 was the hottest year ever recorded globally, while the WHO warns that rising temperatures are increasing deaths from heat stress and worsening heart, respiratory and kidney diseases. To stay ahead of that growing threat, the Freetown City Council, alongside the Ministry of Health, HB Limited, the District Health Management Team and C40 Cities, has brought frontline healthcare workers together for a 2-day training on heat health preparedness.
Today is the start of 2 days of you learning to understand what is going on so you can help your patients to respond, and help us all to gather data, because we're just guessing. In the UK, they can announce 2,700 because they have the data. There'll be people dying from heat-related ailments, but we don't know, and we need to know, because you can only solve a problem when you understand the problem. Today is not about ticking a box to say, I came to a workshop. Today is about gaining knowledge, which we expect you're going to use to train others and to make sure that those who come to your facilities are aware that they need to do things to reduce their exposure to heat, and that you are aware of what you can do to help them when they are exposed to heat.
The training also looks beyond hospital walls, encouraging health workers to help communities recognize the warning signs of heat-related illness and adopt simple protective measures before the heat gains the upper hand. Participants say,
well, based on what we have just discussed, heat can affect or have impact on not only health, but it has impact on 3 stages. It has impact on healthcare workers. It also has impact on the patient and even the healthcare setting.
In prolonged labor, the infant may not survive because of the heat. The mucus that accommodates the infant during childbirth. If the labor at 10 centimeters, all of us know that in 10 centimeters the labor has already counted, the baby is coming out. But if the labor is prolonged, the baby accommodates those mucus and the heat in that baby, there is no good accommodation in that facility. Tendency, the baby is going to die because of the heat.
For health workers, the lesson is that as the climate changes its language, medicine must learn a new vocabulary, one that saves lives before the mercury writes another tragedy. Issa Bangura, AYV News, Freetown.
Now, the recent UN SDG report states that 18% of the Sustainable Development Goals have regressed since 2015, with many professionals calling it a tricky and some, like the US President Trump, generally not believing in climate change. But Sierra Leone's forests are disappearing faster than they can regenerate, placing biodiversity, water, security, and communities under increased pressure. Now, the Western Area Peninsula National Park, home to the Guma Valley watershed, which supplies most of Freetown's drinking water, is among the country's most threatened protected areas, facing persistent encroachment, illegal logging, and land grabbing. Out of these difficulties and realities, the Environment Protection Agency and the National Protected Area Authority have begun training park rangers to strengthen environmental law enforcement and improve protection to the country's natural resources. AYV's Abubakar Siddiqui Jallo tells us more.
The first line of defense for Sierra Leone's forest is not a fence. It is the ranger who patrols them. Every day, park rangers walk through the Western Area Peninsula National Park, protecting one of the country's most important ecosystems. Covering more than 17,000 hectares, the reserve safeguards rich biodiversity and the Guma watershed, which provides water to much of Freetown. Yet pressure from illegal settlement, charcoal production and deforestation continues to threaten its survival. To strengthen that front line, the Environment Protection Agency, the National Protected Area Authority, the Ministry of Environment and Climate Change, with support from the United Nations Development Programme UNDP, have organized a 2-day capacity building program for rangers focused on law enforcement, biodiversity protection, and environmental stewardship.
This is crucial for us because in the past years, the past months, we have been witnessing challenges in the conduct of our functions, in the execution of our duties within the Western Area Peninsula National Park. And this training is serving as a refresher opportunity for our game guards to improve the procedures, the strategies, and the actions that they usually adopt in managing the Western Area Peninsula National Park.
For the men and women protecting the forest, the challenge goes beyond difficult terrain. Rangers say they often work with limited resources, and in some communities, female officers still face gender stereotypes despite performing the same demanding duties.
First, like on the military, we are always have confrontation with them. Most of the time, it's always they are in charge of the forest, which of course we know is our work. It's under our mandate to protect the Western Area Peninsula.
But a lot going in the field. More like we the females them. Some man can attack me in a field. Like in one off, we give way words them we will not like, but we just do the job because we love the job.
According to the Global Forest Watch, Sierra Leone has lost hundreds of thousands of hectares of tree cover over the past 2 decades, highlighting the growing urgency of protecting what remains. Officials say stronger enforcement, backed by the Environment Protection Agency Act of 2022, is essential if the country's forests and the communities that depend on them are to endure. For these rangers, every patrol is more than a routine assignment. It is a quiet promise that future generations will inherit more than stories of the forest. They will inherit the forest itself. Abubakar Siddiqui Jallo, AYV News, Freetown.
Let's join Ibrahim Ramadan Jallo for the court update.
Presided over by Justice Magiba of High Court Number 8, the State vs. Sayo Mara, Saliu Kamara, and Abubakar Kamara make another appearance, with a third accused, Saliu Kamara, changing his plea on the charges of consenting to an alleged child marriage. The prosecution, represented by Yusuf Isaac Sissay, Tarawali, and A.K. Kabo, applied for an amendment of Count 2 by replacing June with May, indicating that the alleged marriage was consented to by Saliu Kamara on the 17th of May, pursuant to Section 239 of the Criminal Procedure Act 2024. Following the amendment, Saliu Kamara pleaded guilty after the charges were read to him again. The prosecution told the court that the victim was living with her uncle before the marriage, but the uncle is currently on the run. The court was also informed that the marriage took place at the convict residence and that Saliu's guilty plea was consistent with his statements to the police. Justice Magiba subsequently found him guilty of Count 2 and fined him 100 million or 15 years imprisonment in default. In mitigation, Saliu pleaded for mercy, stating that the victim introduced Sayo Mara to him and that he consented because she was under his care. Meanwhile, the prosecution first witness, Constable Senesi Jusu of the Family Support Unit at Grafton Police Station, testified that the police received information about an alleged early child marriage at Supply Center, Grafton New Camp. He said officers visited the scene, took photographs, and later arrested persons connected to the incident. During cross-examination, he stated that the fourth accused knew the victim before the marriage and was a neighbor to the victim's uncle. A bail application for the fourth accused was rejected by the court, and the matter was adjourned to the 23rd of July 2026 for another hearing. The case continues.
This is Primetime News on AYV TV and radio. Stay tuned for more stories after the break.
Do you know you can transfer money, buy airtime, and pay all your utility bills in just a minute? You can have access to your account anytime, anywhere. Welcome to the world of fast and easy. GT Wall. With the GT Wall, you can transfer money from one GT Co account to another, pay utility bills, get account statements, get airtime, and check your balance. With GT Wall, you can buy Exa anytime, anywhere. You can go to App Store or Play Store on your iPhone and Android devices, download the app, and enjoy. GT Co. Wouldn't you rather bank with us?
This one is for the bold ones. The people who shaped their world and the winners who still put in the work. Cheers to those who start great things. When you start, you are hard to stop. You raise your game and never back down because you're bold enough to make it. To you I say, never stop. Mutik, never stop starting.
Welcome back. I am Zulayatu Hamid and this is AYV's Primetime News. Thank you for joining us tonight. Let's take more stories. Now, census is the mirror of a nation and holds up itself. Now, ahead of Sierra Leone's 2026 population and housing census, the United Nations Population Fund, alongside Statistics Sierra Leone, has begun training independent monitors to assess the quality and credibility of the upcoming mock census. Now, the trial exercise, which starts on the 19th of July, will test the systems before the nationwide count in December next year. Let's join Yero Jallo for more.
Before a country can count its people, it must first test the hands doing the counting. At the UNFPA Country Office in Freetown, independent monitors have been oriented to observe Sierra Leone's mock 2026 population and housing census. The mock exercise comes as the UN describes population data as the backbone of evidence-based planning, helping governments decide where to build schools, hospitals, and other essential services. The monitors were taken through census procedures. The UNFPA country representative says independent monitoring is vital to safeguarding transparency and public confidence, ensuring the data collected can support informed national development.
This initiative, of course, represents a critical milestone in strengthening Sierra Leone's statistical capacity and ensuring that the forthcoming 2026 population and housing census, which I believe we are all very aware and hopefully looking forward to, is conducted with the highest standards of professionalism, transparency, and credibility. The census, as a lot of you know about, is not only a technical exercise, but is the cornerstone of national development. Reliable population data, especially for housing and people, are so indispensable for evidence-based policy making. It's key to equitable resource distribution, and of course the achievement of national goals and development.
Statistics Sierra Leone says lessons from the mock census will expose operational gaps before the main enumeration, and the mock census aimed to commence on the 19th of July 2026, ahead of the nationwide exercise in December 2026.
Inform you that our field staff have already been deployed to the 6 selected mock districts, where they are currently undertaking mock household listing and other preparatory activities to be followed by the mock enumeration census, the mock enumeration exercise. As part of the mock schedule, we expect that the mock census night will be on the 19th of July, 2026. And the main data collection will start on the 20th of July, 2026. Already, the listing, like I mentioned, is underway. The lessons we learn from this process will be instrumental in improving our preparedness for the main census and will directly strengthen the quality and credibility of the December 2026 census. Ladies and gentlemen, your role as independent monitors is essential to the success of this exercise. Independent monitoring is an internationally recognized best practice that is known to promote transparency, accountability, and public confidence.
If a census is the country's report card, this mock exercise is the final rehearsal before the examination, where every lesson learned today could sharpen the accuracy of tomorrow's national story. Yero Jalo, AWV News Freetown.
Sierra Leone is looking at our sea as a new pathway for trade and investment. The National Shipping Agency has signed a joint venture agreement with China's Zhejiang company to expand the country's maritime capacity, improve the movement of goods, and create new opportunities within the shipping industry. AYV's Ibrahim Ramadan Jalo has details.
The ocean has long been Sierra Leone's gateway to the world. Now authorities say they want to turn that gateway into a stronger engine for economic growth. The partnership between the Sierra Leone's National Shipping Agency and Zhejiang Group Company will establish the Sierra Leone's Ocean Shipping Company Limited with ambitions to strengthen the country's role in regional and international maritime trade.
Today marks a significant milestone for Sierra Leone's maritime sector. The signing of this joint venture today between the Sierra Leone National Shipping Agency and the Zhejiang Group Limited actually is a shared commitment because we have come a long way. Like the minister said yesterday, this whole journey started in 2023, and today we are here to actualize it. I think we welcome Zhejiang Group. They are our strategic partners, and I am confident that together we will position, Sierra Leone National Shipping Company, in the shipping industry.
The National Shipping Company is not merely a commercial project. It will drive in the national economic development, creating more employment opportunities and bring more benefits for the Sierra Leone people. So we believe that this signing is not only the beginning of our partnership, but also the proof of our friendship. Let's look forward together here, so the cooperation will be the new momentum.
The Ministry of Transport and Aviation says the agreement could create jobs, attract investment, and support efforts to make Sierra Leone more competitive in global commerce.
The benefits of this partnership are far-reaching. It will create employment opportunities for Sierra Leoneans, develop a new generation of skilled maritime professionals, and stimulate growth across the logistics, port, and transport sectors.
The agreement will now be submitted to Parliament for rectification. But for a country whose coastline has always been connected to a distance market, the challenge now is turning those waters into a bridge for growth rather than just a passage for ships. Ibrahim Ramadan Jallo, AYV News, Freetown.
Sierra Leone's parliament has endorsed a private member's motion calling for legal protection for former presidents and their families following the discontinuation of criminal charges against former President Ernest Bai Koroma. Now, the motion tabled by Majority Leader Honorable Matthew Nyuma also calls for support for families affected by the November 2023 attempted coup. Now, while lawmakers say the move is aimed at strengthening peace and national cohesion, critics question its impact on accountability and the rule of law. Samuel Tonisoya reports.
Inside Parliament, the debate carried the weight of a nation still negotiating the balance between justice and reconciliation. The chambers was filled as lawmakers responded to the Attorney General's decision to discontinue all charges against former President Dr. Ernest Bai Koroma, a move that have reopened conversation about political stability, accountability, and the protection of former leaders.
We should be national cohesion. We should look about what gains have we made. Our similarities are far greater than our differences. What brings us together is far outweigh what puts us apart. We in the political class are not speaking. We should not use political differences as a way to divide the nation. Political parties are just a conduit to sell our political ideas or philosophy to our people. Be it resolved, this Honorable House 1 promulgates a government of private members bill into law to safeguard the welfare of former heads of states, of former president and vice president. 2, that this Honorable House urges government to support the families of those servicemen, and women who were impaired or lost their lives during the tragic incident of 26 November 2023 and sacrificed to uphold the national security of the state.
The motion, seconded by opposition leader Honorable Abdul Kabo, argues that a legal framework for former presidents and their families could help promote national unity and prevent political tensions.
The AG has the right to act in the interest of the general good of this country, especially on matters that degenerate political stability, on matters that suggest or put at risk national cohesion, on broader matters that have relation to broader public good. The law permits his action. Let us break the barrier. Let us break the bond. Let us begin a new era in our political dispensation. Let us begin unity, harmony, and oneness. Let us come together for the promotion of our Holy Sierra Leone.
Across the aisle, lawmakers described the proposal as part of Sierra Leone's longer journey away from the scars of its 11-year civil war, where questions of peace and justice have often walked side by side.
And today, these 6 parliaments will be remembered, just like the parliament before us, that accepted the Rome Peace Agreement to be laid for the peace and peaceful coexistence of the people of this country. This parliament will remember that it is under this parliament, under the leadership of the Right Honorable Second Apostle of Thomas, from God, very small place, under his leadership, that the foundation to sustainable peace was built.
Seriously convinced that once we have these bodies, maybe a few more, as elders council, to advise government on critical matters, I think it will be good for us. On that note, Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I want to state again that from this side, we are in full support of the initiative moved by His Excellency the President, Julius Maada Bio, to ensure the safe return of our former president, Dr. Nasir Kuruma, that will serve as a new dawn in the history of this country. God bless us.
I'm going to take this message to them. Unfortunately, in about 2 weeks from now, we will be having our national conference, the National Conference of Paramount Chiefs of this country. We'll be together for the conference. We'll relay this message to them so that it will be everybody's responsibility to take it down to the last village.
The House has now approved the motion, paving the way for the Attorney General's office to draft legislation for consideration by Parliament. Honorable Numa also called for a review of the Supreme Court decision in the case of Alhaji Samuel Samsumana versus Attorney General and Minister of Justice and Victor Bokari Fo, describing it as a precedent that requires reconsideration. But outside Parliament, the conversation continues. For some citizens, the move represents a bridge towards reconciliation. For others, it raises concerns about whether peace can be built without equal accountability. Samuel Tony Sawyer, AYV News, Freetown.
And in entertainment, after a one-year pause, the AYV News Miss University pageant is returning with new message that a crown should carry more than beauty, it should carry responsibility. Now, under the theme, Redefining Beauty Through Purpose and Leadership, this year's competition aims to shift attention from appearance to character, intelligence, and community impact. AYV's Joseph Adamambu brings us this report from the launch.
For decades, beauty pageants have often been associated with glamour and physical appearance. But the return of the AYV News Miss University is setting out to redefine that perception by promoting young women whose impact reaches far beyond the runway into classrooms, communities, and leadership spaces. The 2026 edition was officially unveiled, with organizers reaffirming their commitment to building a platform that rewards purpose as much as beauty. Managing Director of AYV Media Empire, Umaru Fofana, said, Miss University is not just another pageant, but an initiative designed to showcase beauty with brains.
The theme has not been chosen by mistake. It was not fortuitous. We thought about it. And redefining beauty through purpose and leadership. And that, again, is no coincidence because for the first time in its history, NUS has a woman as its president. So it tells you why we're talking about women and we're talking about leadership.
The competition is organized through a partnership between AYV Media Empire and the National Union of Sierra Leonean Students. NUS President Fiona Njima described the pageant as a movement aimed at rewriting the narrative around beauty contest.
We are launching a movement. For too long, beauty has been defined by the surface, by the stature, and by the social media followers. But here today, in this moment, we are rewriting that script. Miss University 2026 is not a pageant. It is a platform. It is a platform for the young women who has a voice in the lecture room of this nation. The one who is not just studying for a degree, but who is studying how to solve the problems of our community. The one who understands that true beauty is found in the courage to lead, the compassion to serve, and the resilience to stand firm in the face of adversity.
Adding his voice, Minister of Youth Affairs Ibrahim Sano admitted that he once viewed pageantry differently, but now recognizes its potential to shape discipline, confidence, and socially responsible young people, noting that such platforms create opportunities for leadership, entrepreneurship, and career growth while encouraging young people to discover and develop their talents.
And I came to realize pageantry is not just about beauty. It's about service to community. It's about you being a role model. It's about you being an influencer. Because once you are in that center stage now, everybody have seen you, the country knows you, and a lot of people now have seen you. You're a role model to me.
For the reigning Miss University Queen, Fatima, the pageant has been a journey of transformation. She described her reign as one filled with learning, growth, and opportunity, while encouraging female students across the country to take advantage of the platform.
Standing here today reminds me of my own journey. Becoming AYV Miss University was more than winning a crown. It gave me growth, learning, exposure, and even a car that I still use today. A reminder that one opportunity can change your life.
Officially launching the competition, Deputy Minister of Tourism Khadija Kamara challenged the perception that pageantry is simply about appearance. She describes it as a platform that promotes leadership, cultural identity, and personal development, urging contestants to embody truthfulness, discipline, resilience, and pride in their heritage.
Let us use this platform to provoke enough to make people rethink that pageants can be better, greater, and can pave the way for young women. Let it be honest enough to make young women trust that they are real in themselves and they believe in themselves. Let it be that Sierra Leone is enough on its own just by us watching and not judging these young ladies. Anywhere the world understands us exactly as we represent ourselves, so shall we be proud of ourselves when these young ladies stand on these stages to answer questions that will be asked on that day of their pageantry. To one people, one nation, one story, which is our story.
With auditions expected to draw contestants from universities across Sierra Leone, organizers say the 2026 edition will celebrate young women who embody not only beauty, but also intellect, leadership, and a commitment to national development. Joseph Adumambu, AYV News, Freetown.
Well, stay tuned for more for the latest on AYV Miss University 2026. Now, in the world of sports, a football pitch is more than grass and goalposts. It is where entertainment, talent is discovered, communities gather, and dreams first take shape. But in Kabbalah, the dream is fading. The town's main football ground, once a source of pride, has fallen into despair, raising concerns over public accountability and the future of sports in Koinadugu district. Now, the Sierra Leone Football Association has repeatedly stressed the need for safe, standard playing facilities to nurture the next generation of footballers, yet many communities continue to play on grounds that fall far short of this ambition. Our correspondent, Ibrahim Sudais Kuruma, reports from Kabbalah.
There was a time when Kabbalah town filled echo with cheese. Today it tells a different story. The playing surface is uneven and hazardous. The dressing room remains unfinished. A damaged well no longer serves players and spectators, while parts of the ground have become a dumping site. As darkness falls, residents say the facility is increasingly used for activities far removed from sports. The perimeter fence have collapsed and questions continue to grow over how revenue generated from football matches and public events have been managed.
This particular field now been the Koinadugu District Council, and I mean they're in charge of this particular field. But the Hanover gave the Koinadugu District Football Association for see how we go for take care of how we go for raise something. But how the FA go for raise money and that? All the money they raise, for not be careful now to into the field back the money they go. Because we look at the fence. At the fence, they hadn't been doing before. They know been doing guarantee. The fence can left no more times he broke for himself for them. All the small things they don't get that and take and put out for make that fence. But you see boku grass, they grow inside the field. All that money you see in the generator that field, how they use them back for do the maintenance, for take care of the field. But it's not enough. So if we get people, if we get stakeholders, they will get like the Sierra Leone Football Association, the SLFA, another philanthropist people, and they will go for coming, for sale and go for help for take care of this particular field. Because the field not good, that field not good, trust me. For each and every game we play, and right now they're on Division 2 competition. For telling the amount, go check amount of people they don't get injury, past 15. we don't get ankle, we don't get knee scrap. Anyone will push it for inside all the day, that scrap it they get. Forever, for everlasting scrap.
The Kwenadogo District Football Association acknowledged the field condition, attributing the challenges to limited resources while outlining a plan to improving the facility.
The condition of the field is down too bad. This particular field is not fit for the players there. This Nigeria manage and I risk way we play at this field. Because the field is old and too broken. Even when you want, without you know all the ball set. You wear the foot inside the gutter. We get one player who we know we use today. That we pass game, we don't foot span, the whole foot stone.
As a player, he didn't go down well with it because it gets small pothole, and due to the environment of the field, it look awkward, it's dirty. So due to them thing they want to the request to the authority and to the government, let them be helpful, let them do maintenance and more.
They are really big. Any stakeholders, KDFA, for saying you feel, let them be out, let them help you. Let them feel inside control, and then the way you take out the field, so you really know what you do, and then take out the field, and then let people really take out the field. If you really get at the gas, when people get at the gas, then you really get in control. But you know, to take a much advocate for this, say the Kabbalah field is very poor.
For many residents, reviving Kabbalah Town Field is about more than football. It is about protecting the public space. While young people find purpose, community find unity, and local talent has the chance to flourish once again. Ibrahim Sudais Kuruma, AYV News, Kabbalah.
Well, that's all for sports, and that's all for Primetime News for tonight. For more stories, visit our website at www.ayvnews.com. If you have any comments on the news, please send us an email to info@ayvnews.com. I am Zulaya Hamid. Many thanks for watching and listening. Bye-bye.